So I am going to continue by selecting my coconuts. Remember to hold down the Shift key in order to select multiple parts. That also activates the Add to Selection. I'm on the Donald layer, so now I can hit the Delete key on my keyboard. And then I'm going to show you a different way to do it this time. So, well, actually, not yet. Let me select Inverse. I'm going to go to Coconut, and I am going to hit Delete. Okay, now everything other than what is in that coconut area is deleted. Now, at this point, since you've learned how to use the inverse, it would be a good practice for us to go ahead and merge all these layers together. And I can select multiple layers a couple of different ways. If I use the Command key, I can select one at a time. Although if I click on one and hold my Shift key down, it selects everything in between those two, which is everything. So when I do that, I'm going to hold down the Control key, or I can come up here to that Options menu and I can choose Merge Layers. And now all of this becomes one layer. So when I bring in the next photo, it's not going to interfere with what's there. Okay, and you'll see here in a minute. So let me go ahead and close the coconut. And if I go back to Donald, oops, let me see. I think that I would like to do the grass next, right here. So I'm going to zoom in on that. Actually, maybe I won't zoom in yet because I may have to zoom out to bring in a large picture. Let me bring in the grass. Yep, that was large. Let me zoom out. And I'm going to transform. And the reason that we're transforming them and making them small is because if you look, if we had left that grass big, note the grass area is far away, and so the grass would be too big. So if we make it smaller, it makes it a little bit more realistic. Okay, so again, I was holding down the Shift key to keep it in proportion. I've covered all the grass area, so I'm going to drag it below, and I am going to now zoom in so I can make sure that I have all the grass selected. Oops, was on the wrong layer. Let's try that again. And let me zoom in one more time to make sure. And oops, I'm glad I did because I see I'm missing one little piece up here. And I think that looks pretty good. So now I can hit delete. And now only grass is visible. Now you notice that because I merged all those layers into one, I don't have extra grass over here that I have to select inverse and delete. So now what I can do though is I can, once again, I can merge my layers. And right now, because I only have one thing selected, Donald selected, my option is to merge down. But that merges the layers. Okay, so now they're all one again. All right, so we'll use that method for the remainder. All right, so over here I have some sand, and we're actually going to have sand in two different places. So get the image of the sandy beach, and we're going to have to zoom out again because that's a large photo. And I want to make this one pretty small because it's a small area. Okay, and this area right here should be, I keep doing that, pretty easy to select and delete. And then I can merge down. And then I'm going to bring in that sand one more time for this area. So it's going to need to be a little bit bigger. Still not that big, but bigger. And that's probably about right. And this time I will click. Now, let me zoom in because there is a lot of sand area. I want to make sure that I get all the pieces. And there is right here between Donald's foot and the water, there's a little triangle there. but I think that I have all the sand selected now, so I can hit delete and deselect. And what looks good is because this is further away, the sand looks smaller, but here it's bigger because it's closer. And that's how photorealism works. All right, so I'm going to merge down again, and I'm done with the sandy beach. And so now I think I'm going to do the water. So I'm going to choose the water image. I drag it over. Let me zoom out a bit and transform. And I am actually going to rotate this one a little bit. Notice that when I put my cursor to a corner of the image, it's a rounded arrow. That allows me to rotate. So I'm going to rotate it that direction. I don't have a magic amount. I just feel like with the beach here, it's coming in that direction. So I want to make sure it's covering all of it. And I feel like it is. So I'm going to commit to that, reorder my layer, and I'm going to select. Now, I know in this instance that I have to zoom in because there's lots of different pieces that I need to select to choose all the water. Between Donald's legs, here between Donald and the parrot. And I think I have it all, so I'm going to hit delete. And yep, I think that was good. So I will merge down again and deselect. And you see how now the waves are coming in towards the beach. So I think I like the way that worked better. I'll close that water image. And now I want to go to the boat back here. And there is a wood. And I'm going to use the same idea after I resize this a little bit. Actually resize it a lot. I want to use the same idea and rotate this a little bit because the boat is sitting a different angle, and I want the little striations in the wood to kind of go with the angle of the boat. So once I get it rotated the way I like it, I'm going to make sure, oh, except for I forgot that it's going to go all the way up to the top, so it actually needs to be a little bit bigger than that. There we go. Oh, or this might be a case where I want to, let me see what happens if I resize it out of proportion. Nope, I don't like that. All right, so I'm going to keep holding shift down, and it's got to hit all the way up to the top. Okay, then I'm going to reorder it. This one I definitely have to zoom in quite a bit because there's lots of little pieces here to get. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to start with the boat. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. One more time, right here. What I am not going to choose is these things that look like windows. I'm going to leave those alone. But I want to get that piece inside the boat, there and there and there. The end of the boat, including the, I think that's called a rudder. There, there. I'm going to leave the windows alone. And then I'm going to need to zoom in a little bit more so that I can get all the posts, the masts that are holding the sails and the lookout towers. And you may have to zoom in a little bit more than what you thought because it is a narrow area. And you can see how when I zoom in, you can see all the pixels that make it up. I can also see a little piece of sky that I missed, but oh well. All right, so I think I got that. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. And I am going to hit delete. And I'm going to double check it before I commit to it. And I think that I got everything I want. So I'm going to hit Command D and I'm going to merge down again. Okay, I can close that wood And now we're ready to work on Donald and the parrot. So we know that Donald is a white duck. So in here I have white feathers. And we're going to give his whole body, just the body part, not like the legs or the outfit, but the body part, this white feather. So it does need to cover him completely. And I actually feel I'm going to rotate this around as well and resize it, because remember, I don't want there to be a bunch of extra there. I may actually go out of proportion a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so now I'll put the feathers down, and I'm going to select, oh, wrong layer again. I'm going to do that every time probably. Here, over here, I'm going to select his neck. I'm going to select his body and tail, his hand. Make sure you get those fingers in there. This hand and this thumb, and that's probably it. So I'm going to hit delete to check. Think I got it. So I'll Command D again to deselect, and I'll merge down. Okay, and Donald wears a blue top, or most of it is blue anyway. So I'm going to use the blue sweater texture. I'm going to drag that over. I'm going to resize it, resize it. And this one's going to be pretty small. It's going to fit just over his sweater area. And that one oops, but it's got to have the arm over there. All right, I think I got it. Reorder, go back to the Donald layer. I'm going to zoom in. This also has some different parts you have to choose. So you're going to get the main part of the shirt. Leave this stripe alone, but get that bottom little piece. Get up here the collar above the stripe. This side the collar. This side of the sleeve. Right here is still part of his sleeve. And then leave the stripe alone, get the bottom, and get the inside of the shirt. Now let's hit delete. And that's correct, because that right there is part of the bird's foot. So I can hit deselect. I can merge down. And I can close the blue sweater and move on now to the parrot. All right, so I think I want the parrot to have a red head. So I'm going to drag the red feathers over. I'm going to Command T to transform. And this one again will be small. Because of the direction that the feathers go, I want to flip it that way. Okay, and I still need to transform it a little bit, it's still too big. And I'm going to go down just a little bit there. Perfect. I'll move that down. I'm going to select, whoops, there I go again. On the Donald layer, I'm going to select the top. I'm going to select the side, this side, and kind of this neck area. And let me zoom in real quick. Since I think I'll leave that eye alone. He's winking at him, but I think we're going to just make that like an eyelid color. Leave the beak alone, and we're ready to hit delete, and now he's got a red head. I'll deselect, I'll merge down,